Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to Kicker Rock's podcast, 2 Drink Minimum. This is episode number 18, and in this one, we're talking about our first time. No, not in that way. Get your minds out of the gutter. We're talking about a couple of our other firsts. Well, I guess you'll just have to listen. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Sit back, relax, have a drink with us, and enjoy. Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Welcome to Kicker Rock's podcast, 2 Drink Minimum. I'm Bill.
Sergio.
James Thomas.
Malloy, and that's it. Just the 3 of us today. Tony and Joe couldn't be here. They had better things to do, apparently. No, I'm kidding. Who knows? But it's just the 3 of us here, so we decided we came up with a spur-of-the-moment topic for the podcast. We're talking about firsts, or first times. So we're going to go around. Each of us is going to...
Can you specify? Because that sounds dirty.
Oh. My first time. Right. We're going to keep it clean, relatively, at least. But your first, whatever. The first time you did this, or your first experience with this.
That's funny.
In the non...
I was going to say, like, the first time you did X, as in X the variable, but it's like, the first time I did X was in this club.
Well, yeah. The first time you did X, right. It sounds bad, but you'll see what we mean maybe when we get into it. So if you haven't turned this podcast off yet, just keep listening. I promise it'll get good. I hope. Here we go. Anyway, who wants to get started? Maybe they'll see what we mean when we get started with these first questions here. Who wants to go first for these firsts?
You know what? I'll jump in right away because this was something I was thinking about earlier today. It's like, what was my first concert that I ever went to? So, and I remember it clearly. So my first concert that I ever went to, I remember I was a freshman in high school. Which is sad enough that it took me to be a freshman to go to a concert. But I'm a freshman in high school, and it's a Saturday afternoon. I'm sitting at home, and my friend Mike Jones calls me up, and he's like, dude, I was just talking to XXNX, these 3 girls that we knew from school. They're like, they're going to go to the U2 concert at the World Theater. And this is going back a bit. They're like,
when it was still called the World.
Yeah, when it was called the World.
What is it called now?
Who knows? It was
Fifth Third. It's World.
It was
I was there to see Iron Maiden last summer, and I do not remember what it was called.
I don't know, but the World Theater, we know what it is.
Yeah. It's basically in Tinley Park.
Yeah.
Off of I-80.
Did you have lawn seats or what?
Well, so basically, my buddy calls me up. He's like, "You got to go," and I didn't even know much about U2. I remember seeing that Joshua Tree album like out there. It existed. Blah blah blah. I guess this was their pop tour. It was, I think, the album that came after Joshua Tree. I think. I could be wrong on that.
Well, if we were in high school, it was probably when U2 first started, right?
No. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I kid. All right.
But it was one of those spur of the moment, freshman year of high school. One of my best friends. You gotta go. My mom's gonna drive us, type of thing. I'm like, well, I don't have enough money right now. Wait for my allowance, blah, blah, all that, whatever, money I'm making. And my buddy's like, no, you got to come with us. I'll buy your ticket. And I'm like, okay. But it happened to be lawn tickets. So it was, I just remember that day so vividly because I was never exposed to concerts before that. And I just remember going to the World Theater, waiting in that long line to drive up, getting out of the car, going up, walking in lawn, hanging out with these girls that we became friends with our freshman year. And it was just so amazingly epic. Not only did that experience just make me love going to concerts, but it also made me really enjoy U2 in general because Joshua Tree, that album alone is enough reason to want to listen to that band. So for me, that's one of the best, that was the best experiences for me. So now that I've said my first experience going to a concert, what was your first experience going to a concert?
Yeah, Bill.
Oh, me? You know what? I think actually when this might have came up one of our earlier podcasts when I talked with Pat. We were talking music and everything. I think I talked about this, but if I'm repeating myself, oh well. But mine was REO Speedwagon, and it was in the lovely village of Oak Lawn, Illinois.
That's like where they're from and stuff.
Yeah, I believe REO stands for Ridge Evergreen Oak Lawn.
I've heard that.
No, really?
I think so. I don't know.
I have no idea, but that sounds made up.
Yeah, allegedly.
I feel like every city in America comes up with that story, with that
it sounds
myth.
too like cute and convenient. I mean, like there's more plausibility to that. I
right,
guess,
but like
some, but
I think they went to like the local. I think they grew up here. I think they're Southside boys, all of them. I think in the band, or at least the lead singer.
Wasn't it Cronin?
Brian Cronin went to Brother Rice.
Yeah. Is there a town called Speedwagon, or
I don't know. Whoever's listening on the South Side is gonna be like, "No, you're wrong. This is not what happened at all." I don't know, but I think that's the story. They're all from the South Side of Chicago. Anyway, it was at it was a festival of some sort in Oak Lawn, and
Fall on the Green. Was that one of those?
Possibly Fall on the Green. I think it was. I don't know how long Fall on the Green has been going on, but it could have been that long.
It's been a while.
It was actually oddly enough, my freshman year of high school too. So
I think freshman year is the year that you end up going to like a big concert.
Right, we were both late bloomers in that respect.
I was sophomore.
See,
you of all people, early sophomore. But yeah. So I saw them. I loved the show for sure. And it was great. It was first live concert. I knew of REO Speedwagon, but I didn't know all of their songs that well. But the main ones, I sang along to them. It was a good time. Definitely a good show, a lot of fun. Went with a group of friends. But that was the first concert I went to. And then, oddly enough, this is actually a funny segue. A few years later, I worked in Disney World. For those of you who don't know, I worked in Disney World for the better part of 2003, and a long time ago. But I worked there, and my manager at the time was best friends with, I want to say he's the bass player of REO Speedwagon, Bruce Hall. Might be the guitar player, but I think he's the bass player. In any event, I have... because of her, I told her, "Oh yeah, the first concert I went to was REO Speedwagon. I'm from Chicago. They're from Chicago." And she was like, "Oh, great." She's a huge fan of theirs. She actually got me a signed picture of the band, signed by Bruce Hall of REO Speedwagon. I still have that picture, that signed picture this day. To Bill from Bruce. When he visited Disney World, he did this because he got I think she got him in free passes. She was a manager there, so he was a celebrity, right? So yeah, I got this signed picture from him when he came to visit, so it's pretty funny. I have a rock star's autograph at my house right now of REO Speedwagon. So I'm pretty amazing.
Hey, would you say that was your first? Would you say that's also your first autographed?
Oh, definitely.
Item from a famous person?
First and probably only, if I think about the autographs I have, I think Bruce Hall is the only autograph that I own.
There you go.
Of a famous person.
So many firsts
I'm
tonight.
a huge Bruce Hall guy. Big Bruce Hall fan. If he's listening, which, let's be honest, we know the entire band of REO Speedwagon is listening right now. We're big fans of you guys, and I, for one, am definitely a Bruce Hall fan. So there you go. JT, you're up.
Well, if you don't count the time I went with my cousins to see the Coming Out of Their Shells Ninja Turtles tour.
I do count that, but go on.
Place or some shit like that. Venue. Oh my god. No, it was early sophomore year, 1997. I saw The Offspring, and that was right around the time I was nosediving into punk,
Yeah.
So that was that's when it all started, it was right around that time. So I saw The Offspring with two of my best friends, Vince and Mike, at the time, and it was awesome. I don't know. It was right after it was at the Aragon Ballroom. It was right after the Ixnay and the Hombre came out.
Okay.
So it was like they played everything from Ignition, Smash, Ixnay, and even like a couple songs from Beheaded and stuff like that. I still remember some of the songs.
Was that your introduction to them? Because I know that's one of your still like favorite bands of all time.
Oh no! I got into them in '94 when Smash came out.
Okay.
So that's.
But you're a huge Offspring.
First Offspring
like you
song
got me into Offspring. Actually,
I love the Offspring. The first song I ever heard from them was "Bad Habit."
Oh, okay.
And that was in social studies class when you could play stuff on a computer, and like the teacher was like, "All right, here you can play a song." So then you know how the
you
order.
played that out loud?
No, I didn't play it. It was a friend of mine. I never heard Offspring before this. So this guy puts it in the computer, and you're like, we're all just. He has this goofy look on his face, and it's like.
When they got to the drivers or root part.
So it's like you get through Nitro, and there's really not many swears in that, and then you get through. Bad Habit, but like they say fuck a few times, but it's like covered up with the guitar noises and shit. But then he's like, drivers are rude, such attitude.
Yeah, sure.
Man, I show my piece of complaints or something like that.
Yeah.
Super dumb shit, goddamn motherfucker. And then like I was like, oh, this music is great.
That was the moment. It clicked.
I was like, oh, I liked Aerosmith and Van Halen and all that stuff before this, but this goes really fast and it swears at me. It's about being in traffic and it sucks. I'm like, this is great.
Well, that album Smash is one of the albums, like, listen to the whole way through.
That planted the seeds.
Such a good album.
By the time 97 rolled around, I was heavy into punk, and I still am. But anyway, Aragon Ballroom, Offspring, and the two opening bands are two bands that I'm still fans of to this day. Before the Offspring played was Voodoo Glow Skulls. And like around that time, I was getting into ska, too. So it was like, you know, I had listened to Real Big Fish and stuff like that, and Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, but like... They were like a more fast and hard version of ska. You know what I mean? It was like they were nuts. And then right before them was the Joy Killer, who was a band on Epitaph Records that Jack Grisham from TSOL was the singer of. And Ron Emery from TSOL was the guitarist too. So it was like a post-TSOL band, you know? So it's like the first band I ever saw had Jack Grisham singing it, which was pretty cool in retrospect because they're one of my favorite bands and that guy's one of my favorite people. So, I don't know. It was dope. It was really cool. Oh, I got a shirt signed by Dexter Holland. I got this Offspring shirt. You can tell it was 1997 because like everything was fucking Adidas back then. You know, it was like it was a black long sleeve shirt with like the 3 white stripes down the sleeves or the side, you know, and then like the cuff of the sleeve was white, and so like it came up to him and I saw him in the alley next to the.
Oh, no way, right? Outside the building.
Outside of Aragon, yeah. And he signed, you know.
That's awesome.
Dexter on my shirt. I had that shirt for a long time, and I lost track of it over the years.
Well, plus, Aragon Ballroom is just such a kick-ass venue to watch a show. Yeah. I mean, that place has just been around in Chicago forever.
The Aragon is awesome.
Like, they...
For sure.
I feel like in the 90s, they just had some of the best acts go through there. Yeah. Even today, they still have great acts go through there. But it's like, I want to say I saw Green Day there. I think I saw Blink there, like in the 90s.
Yeah, I saw
like,
Green Day.
Everybody just kind of like, so like they all just kind of like went through that venue.
I saw Dropkick and Tiger Army there just like 2 years ago or something.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, cool. All right, so who's going to give the next first?
I'll go. One of my favorite things to do. And it's the laziest hobby in the world, but I love it. I love going to the movies. Shocker, even though I haven't been in a long time, but used to go all the time. Love doing it, going to the theater or even the drive-in, which was a thing when we were kids still. Which they still have them few and far between. There's still drive-ins that are in operation, but...
Never going to a drive-in.
Wait, in Chicago? Where? Because
like outside of Chicago, for sure.
I was going to say.
Yeah, you got to drive a little bit, but there are some that still... have drive-ins for sure. There are some towns that still have them.
You remember the one on 31st and Cicero? Can't remember the name of it, but it was that's the one that I remember going when I was younger a couple times.
Yeah, and
totally digressing. But
well,
the
best part of the drive-in is that more often than not they have the double feature going. You go to the drive-in, it was 2 movies.
Yeah,
basically for the price of 1. So that brings me to I guess the first movie you can remember seeing at a theater or drive-in. And I guess I have 2 answers to this part. Because definitely the first time was 1989 at a drive-in. I was only 6 years old, but I remember this. And I only remember one of the movies in the double feature because they always showed like the PG movie or whatever first,
Right.
and then the more adult one second, just in case parents brought their kids, which is exactly what my parents did. Right? They brought me. I'm 5 or 6, and it was Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
Okay, 89 was the first movie. I remember that. I don't remember the second movie. It maybe was a Stallone movie or something. I can't remember. I don't know what it was. I want to say Cliffhanger, but I think Cliffhanger was like 90s, so it probably wasn't Cliffhanger. But it was definitely some kind of maybe rated R, P-13 movie, whatever, PG-13 movie. But I remember Ghostbusters 2 was the first movie I saw on the drive-in.
It wasn't Demolition Man, was it?
It might have been because that was
Wasn't that 90s as well?
That was 89, 90 when that came
Was
out.
that 90? Was that 90?
I'm gonna have to look
No,
that
you know
up.
what? That was like 93. Sorry.
Was it that late?
I don't know.
Hold on. All I know
It
is
might not have
that
been a
Sandra
slow movie, I
Bullock
just-
was
I
in
can't
Demolition Man, and then like a year later, Speed came out, which made her like very popular.
Right.
So
And-
that must have been like 93 or something like
and
that.
secondly, you don't like Demolition Man?
No.
What?
Oh my god!
Maybe
I enjoyed
maybe
it.
I like in a ironic way you could like it, but I think it's not. I don't think it's good. Your Taco Bell's a restaurant.
Well, at least
What? You don't like the three seashells?
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't know about the seashells. Come on, Rob Schneider.
Sorry.
Oh my
Rob
god.
Schneider. I forgot he was in
Yeah,
that.
right?
God, that just furthers my point.
I mean, when he kicks Wesley Snipes' head off, he says, "Heads up." That's not great to you? Come on.
Rob Schneider is meant to be in the background of an Adam Sandler movie. That's
Fair.
all he's good for.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
Rob Schneider,
if you're listening to
he's
this.
definitely listening to this.
Yeah, right.
Schneider is sitting with Ario Speedwagon right now, listening to this podcast, going, "You can do it." I don't know what
I
he's
just
doing,
started
but
a Twitter storm.
anyway, yeah, probably. But anyway, that's the first one I can remember seeing at a drive-in. But gonna go a little further because the one I can remember going to a theater in, much more vividly, was 1990. A year later, it was my cousin's birthday, and a group of us, our parents took us to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The OG, the original one.
That's a good movie.
And that, to this day, can probably quote the whole movie if I had to. Loved it. And that was like, going to the theater to see that movie at that age, at that time, was the shit. Like, that was the movie you had to see in 1990 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I think I'm getting the year right. You're checking. Is the year right? Or am I
pretty
wrong?
sure it is, yeah.
No,
I think it's
I didn't
1990.
check that.
Exactly,
but-
1990, yeah.
So, but that was like 7 years old. Seeing that movie, the live action Turtles, was awesome. And that was the first time I can remember going to a theater and watching a movie was that movie. So,
Gee, it's kind of like moonlighting.
in it. Pork
That's
rind?
one of the more faithful comic book movie adaptations. If
It
you
is.
read the
It is.
first ever comic,
Yeah.
and then watched the cartoon, they just kind of merged the two together.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, everything
story.
from like, even like the Psy like hitting the light in the
Yeah.
first like couple minutes and everything and them jumping. Yeah.
Yep,
it's
and
all
then like
there.
going to the April's farm and stuff. That was from the books too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anyway, I would still watch the movie to this day and enjoy it heavily just as much as I did when I was 7. So,
Yeah.
pretty important moment in this guy's
That
life.
holds up as a kids movie and an adult movie.
For sure.
2 and 3 are kind of,
Yeah,
they're fun when you're a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are kids movies, so it's like they're good for that. You know.
You know, we
But,
just
like,
did we
but
just
they're
did the
not-
sequels podcast and none of us mentioned Secret of the Ooze.
We did.
It's pretty good though. It's pretty entertaining. Not as good as the first one though.
I remember that was one of my earliest memories of being like,
That's not like the comic.
where it's like they had TGRI on like the ooze, you know?
Right.
But I remember I read the comics and it was TCRI. And I was
why
like,
would
why
they
would they
change
change that?
Right, it made no sense. It made no sense.
That was one of the first times where I was like, why would they do that?
That's
Like,
hilarious that at that young of an age for you, JT, you're still
that's
defending
my first,
the comic version.
That's my very first time going.
That's not like the comics.
You know, like,
and now you do that.
Well, the voice alone
yeah,
is
no, I do
great.
that every-
but in a different voice. Now it's like, that's not like the comics.
I don't know what voice picture.
I don't know.
People picture me using it on Facebook, but whatever.
Either way.
That's
So,
fucking
all
great.
right, so that's, that was a way too long explanation, but anyway, first movie you guys can remember seeing.
What do you got, Serge?
All right, for me, okay, so this is a weird one that I'm trying to remember exactly. I'm pretty sure. I remember vividly going to the movies with my oldest sister. She was 7 years older than me, and I remember she was dating her husband now. She actually like high school sweetheart. I remember going with them. It's me, my other sister, who's 2 years older than me, Veronica. We ended up going with my oldest sister, Marilla, and her boyfriend at the time to see a movie over at Ford City Mall. And for some reason, they decided to take us to a movie called Wildcats. So this is, I'm only like, what am I? I was 8 years old, I think, when this came out. It was like 85, 86. It's Goldie Hawn and Woody Harrelson is in it, and so is Wesley Snipes. It's a movie based on Goldie Hawn decides to become a coach of a high school football team. The football team is based in Chicago, and she decides to take this football team that just sucks and bring them to like a victorious, like winning season.
So it's Bad News Bears meets The Blind Side.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Perfect example of
Wait,
that.
who owns the team?
It's a high school. It's a high school. It's a high school football team. And the best is like you have two very young actors, Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, who are both like the lead like male actors for the football team.
Oh wow!
But obviously it's a Goldie Hawn movie, so it's just one of those weird memories where I just remember it because it's like it was a cheesy 80s movie where it's like Goldie Hawn becomes this like coach of a football team. And they do like rapping at the end. Like it's just really bad. If you have a chance to watch it because it'll make you laugh. Plus seeing Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes just very young and very acting stupid.
I can't see those two together, which is hilarious. No, I just want to see that
because it's just like it's one of those movies because it's like early having Well, no, probably late 80s where it's just like. Yeah. All right, we're gonna put like, all right, here's like a group of like white high school kids, having to deal with black high school kids, but then they become friends to form this like amazing football team coached by Goldie Hawn.
Oh, okay. So now it's Bad News Bears meets The Blind Side meets Remember the Titans. Okay, good.
Yes.
Good. That's okay.
See,
Good.
I at first was thinking like, oh, it sounds like Major League or something, but then I was like, then I started to remember that Wesley Snipes was in that movie too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in Major League, which was like 90, 91 or something like that.
No,
or 89. Actually,
yeah.
I think it was like 89.
The first one was 80s.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So that was the first time I remember going to a movie because I just remember it vividly. Like,
wow,
getting in the car, going to Ford City Mall, and
Ford City Mall,
and then when the movie was over, who is now my brother-in-law, which like God bless them that they're still together. I think it's fucking magical that they have like been together this long. And then afterwards, they're like, oh, let's go to Gertie's, which was like the Gertie's ice cream and chili.
Yes. Yeah.
Right by Ford City Mall. I want to say it's off of the Pulaski side. Pulaski and like maybe...
Is that one still there?
I don't know if I have
because we got the one on Kedzie, I know.
Yeah, the one on Kedgey's still there, but I have no clue if the one that's on Pulaski. I want to say it was like 77th and Pulaski.
Wow.
Just like on the east side of Ford City Mall.
Yeah.
Once the movie was over, he took us over there and we got ice cream.
Sure.
Like that's what I just remember of that whole experience.
Well, yeah, that's what you did. You went to see a movie there.
And then
Where are you going to go after the movie?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You go to Gertie's and get some ice cream.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
So that was like my first. That was the one that I remember, and not that it was a phenomenal movie to go see, but that memory has
Sticks
always
in your
just
head.
sticks in my head.
Sure.
So
Good.
all right, JT.
Who am I?
Who? Where?
No, I remember. I think the earliest movie memory of mine in the theater was Back to the Future 2 in 1988. You know, like, I remember
one.
I don't know if it
such
was.
a great.
I don't know if it was my first, but that's the one I remember.
Yeah, there you
know?
go.
Yeah.
So it's like I remember it was like my birthday in second grade or something. I remember third grade. It was Star Trek 6. That was cool.
Oh, okay.
That was the moment I was like, "Whoa, Star Trek's cool," you know. But no, Back to the Future 2 in 1988. So I would have been in second grade or first grade or something like that, and it was like me and a bunch of friends or people that were in my class or whatever. You know how it is back then. It's like, oh, this dude's a dick, but he's at my house because he's in my class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that
all
kind of
birthday parties, you had to invite everybody in your class. Otherwise,
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you didn't get along with them.
Yeah, because parents just think like, oh, it's the kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't see like the
Everybody likes everybody.
Like, oh no, he's beating the shit out of him. Or whatever, you know? Like, they just don't know. Right? Yeah. So it was like, I remember. You know what's funny is like, I remember hearing somewhere it was people kept talking about how that movie was confusing or whatever, but I understood all of it.
Yeah.
Even at that early age. I was like, oh yeah, he took the almanac, he gave it to himself back in time, and then he became rich, and then they had to go back to the first movie and avert it. And at that time, I had not seen the first movie.
That's the question I was just about to ask. I was going to say, wait,
wow.
Did you know what the first movie was about before
No,
you saw
I
it?
saw it like very soon after that. You know,
that's
so, like,
crazy.
on VHS or whatever.
That
but
is
like,
crazy.
Still followed along, though.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So I totally followed along. Like, I had no problem. And it's like, I don't know.
They do do a good job of connecting the three, though.
Sometimes I think I was like a genius kid because like you're a prodigy or some shit because it's like I figured that movie out as a real little kid. As an even littler kid, I beat E.T. on Atari.
And nobody beats that.
Nobody beats that. I was ready for some like fucking Last Starfighter shit or whatever to happen to me. Like,
Do you know why
So wait,
nobody
some
beats
Cloak and
that
Dagger
game,
shit
though?
that happened to me?
Nobody beats that game because it sucks. It's a terrible game.
It is good. By the standards of back then, it is a good game.
So, JT, what you're saying
But
is...
the angry video game nerd is behind me on this. James Rolfe is behind me on this.
What?
Yeah, he agrees.
I respect his opinion, but
Well, if you're defining a great game,
That's
by
a terrible
by
game no matter when it
difficulty,
came out.
That's a
Compared to how awful Raiders is, compared to how awful or simplistic some of the other games are for Atari, I think that's pretty good. I don't know. You gotta go. You gotta find the pieces to your ship. You like go home and like find the landing spot, and then you get away without the like lady from the doctor.
But
FBI guy
instructionally,
getting
there
you.
was no direction in that movie. You just wandered.
and yet
I figured it out.
And yet, a game featuring a circular character eating dots is way better than E.T.
There were Reese's Pieces.
Talking about Pac-Man.
Oh.
All right? Talking about Pac-Man.
Well, yeah. Well, Pac-Man sucked on Atari 2600.
Whatever.
That's the
Still
only
better
version
than
we-
E.T.
That's the
though.
only version we had back then. Do you remember that one?
All right, we're safe. Yes, I do. And
Not
it's
even-
better than E.T.
Couldn't even do the arcade version.
Well, this is up for debate and a different podcast.
We're digressing here, but
We are.
All right, we'll get into
Clearly, we have to talk about
later.
video games.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure I was a child prodigy, and what happened?
and what?
puberty, JT.
Now I'm an idiot.
Puberty.
You like took the joke that each of us were gonna say, and you're just like, I'll say it myself.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not going to talk about being prodigy
hilarious.
without self-deprecating.
No, but that
Like, I know a few $20 words I can draw, and that's it. Otherwise, I'm a complete idiot.
no, that's it.
Yeah, you
I mean,
discovered
yes, but
punk
no,
and you
no.
discovered women. That's what happened.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
funny.
much.
That's funny.
That's
All
where I
right.
went wrong. But
well,
I remember we had these chairs too that we turned on their side. We had these like wooden chairs at my house, and we like put the two of them together, and then like the rest of the night after we saw the movie, me and my buddies or whatever were playing Back to the Future too, and that was the DeLorean, you know.
that's funny.
And then I painted Back to the Future car that looks like
Yeah.
second grader did it on like my wall in my room, and that was there until like well after high school.
Dude, I did that. Oh, like the whole Back to the Future. So the end of the first Back to the Future, where the DeLorean like shoots into the screen. Mm-hmm. Because I used to like to draw when I was younger too, but like that like drawing I did over and over. Like my mom was probably sick of it because it was like it's like on the outside of my textbooks. It was like in my notebooks. It was everywhere. I would just like draw that over and over and over. So it's like I hear what you're saying. Like once you see a movie that you fucking love so much. It's like you just fucking sketch it over and over.
No, seriously. You know what sucks? One more thing, real quick, is like there was like next to no cool merchandise back then.
Yeah, you brought this up before. You brought this up before.
Yeah, it's like nowadays you see like these awesome Lego sets with the DeLorean and Doc and Marty and all that stuff. I'm like, where was this when I was a kid? You know, like yeah, whatever.
Oh man,
There's nothing. Well, that brings us to actually.
Yeah.
Segue into your own.
Keep
You were
talking
up.
shit.
You got to keep talking.
yeah.
What's your first job?
Whoa.
Yeah, we're going there.
Okay.
Are we talking legal or?
That's a good question.
That's a
Because I have a
sincere-
first job that
That's
I
a
got.
sincere question.
It sounds bad. I got paid for it. But was it like a yeah? All right, anyway, I didn't get a paycheck, but
Go ahead, JT. I think JT goes first.
all right, go ahead. Yeah, let's see.
You brought up
Set the bar.
You
Set
brought
the
up the
bar.
topic.
Yeah.
You answer your own
Set the
question.
bar, and then I'm gonna limbo that shit and hit it with my nose, and it'll fall down, and then we have to all go home.
Fair enough.
I don't know why everybody has to go home if you fuck up limbo, but what am I talking about?
I don't
Okay,
know.
no. So I was a caddy when I was
Nice.
13 and 14, in the summers of after 7th grade and in the summer after 8th grade, at Beverly Country Club, at whatever, 79th and fuckery. What is that? Whatever. Beverly Country Club
I got
in Beverly, Chicago, whatever.
Yeah, no, it is.
No, it's like me and my buddy John Pacina, who's one of my oldest friends, and like his older brother Tom, his older sister Mary, were there, and so that was my first job was like getting like $40 on a good day for dragging somebody's golf clubs around for 18 holes. You know, like the days where you had to just put them on your shoulder
Was it
and
just
walk around.
tips you worked
Hold
on?
on.
Yeah.
One person tipped you 40, or it was an accumulation of the days.
One
like-
person, because you were assigned a golfer, you know, or the golfer was assigned a caddy, basically.
This is
You
probably
get there,
why
you-
I don't golf, because like if you got to tip $40, damn.
You don't
Sorry.
have to.
Go ahead.
A lot of people
Continue.
do without caddies, but I don't know how it works at a country club. Maybe they have to, but
Oh.
anywho, so there was a caddy shack, and we all had to hang out there and sit on couches, and there was like a shitty like golf game from the 1980s it was like Golden Tee where you spin the you know, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
ball,
But
Yeah.
shittier.
but way shittier,
Much
and way
shittier.
older. I still remember like the
music.
the music, that
Oh.
the chime of that fucking music. Yeah.
Yes. Stop right now. Stop it. I'm gonna have nightmares.
Whoa.
Stop it. Go ahead.
They eventually got a Mortal Kombat 2 machine though, and I was happy about that.
Oh, well, there you go. Then you owned the
Spent
caddy
more
shack.
money than I actually made, but
Yeah.
no, but it was like so it was like you show up. My parents dropped me and John off, you know, and it was like we call it get out, you know. So it's like, did you get out today? No. Did you get out today? Yeah. I made $50. I made $25 or whatever, you know. So it was like a lot of times you would hope that you didn't get out.
So wait, you show up, but you weren't guaranteed to work?
No, you weren't. You know, so it was like
that's crazy.
Yeah, you show up there, and if there's not a lot of people there, or if there's a lot of people there, like I don't know, it depends.
You know,
And there are
when
some
you're
days
what,
that
when you
were
13, 14,
Yeah.
you know, $40-$50.
Right,
It's
of
not
course.
bad on a Saturday, you
No,
know.
totally, yeah.
You take it.
That's
What are you gonna
like
do with that when
How
you're
many
14?
trips
Oh, yeah.
how many trips to Arena Lanes to play Mortal Kombat 3 or whatever?
There's
you know?
that, and there's like whatever the new video game was that paid for it.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
what did you have to spend money on back then? You know, that's it.
Yeah,
Really,
that was it. And then
it's good.
basketball courts, we played that. And then okay, so there was this game we all played. We played cards there sometimes, you know. So we
Yeah.
just play poker or whatever. But there was this one game called Knuckles that we all played, and it was like. It was like I don't remember exactly how it works, but it was one of those games where it's like you deal out all your cards. You got to get all your cards out. You got to get rid of your hand, you know, by like, you know, matching cards or whatever.
Okay.
So it's like however many cards you had left, the winner got to take however many cards were on the table, form a pack out of them, and with their elbow fixed on the table, they couldn't lift their elbow, slam the cards down on your hands, your knuckles. So it was like, this guy bullshit, kid bullshit. So
Sure.
it was like, if you
Was there ever any blood?
If there were a lot of some kid cried once.
Whoa.
Wow.
I got it kind of bad once or twice, but I never that bad, And like, but this one guy was crying. It was ridiculous. But like, you know what I mean? So it would be like sometimes like there would be like 7 people playing or something.
It's like a card version of Bloody Knuckles.
Yeah.
Basically, if you remember that.
So it's like So it's like all the the quarters or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So it's like
much more stupid, dangerous game.
Yeah, but all the kids were like, so we were playing. And like some of these people were like 18, and like some of us were 13, and like some of them were sociopaths.
Yeah.
So it was like, you get rid of all your cards, and then there's like a huge pile, and then maybe it's like 2 people left, and it was like one guy deals his out, I'm done, and then the last kid has 4 cards left, and every card is on the table. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like 48 cards in somebody's hand with their elbow on the table going, boom, 4 times. They get to hit them 4 times, And sometimes people were nice, and they'd go tap, tap, tap. Boom! So it was like 1, 2, 3, and the last one was 4.
But this was 4.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh man, it was pretty harsh. And I don't know. So that was, my first job was
Brutal.
Jeez.
The
Wow.
first job was brutal.
maybe getting paid. Sometimes you just didn't want to go.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just
I don't
wanted
blame
to
you.
to.
hang
Yeah.
out at the shack.
Yeah, you didn't want to like get like $30 or whatever for going 18 holes. So sometimes John Pacina and I, sorry mom, sorry Noreen, we would like just walk to the gas station nearby and just sit there and eat Skittles and fuck around on our Game Boys or something until we said, oh, we didn't get out today. It was a really, really tough day. Yeah, come pick us up.
Oh my god. Nice. The truth comes out of the podcast.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, mostly I did it, but some days you just didn't want to. So.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. It was my first job.
Nice.
Nice.
Bill, go ahead.
Oh man. All right. Well, first job, I guess technically was probably 8 or 9 years old. Was lawns. My dad had a lawn business on the side, and I was cutting lawns around the little subdivision I lived on. I had about, when we first started, probably about 8 to 10 accounts that I cut.
Accounts. I love the fact you're
Accounts.
referring to them as accounts.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Lots of fires.
It was cash. There was some fires on there. Yeah, my dad, we drove out to those, but the ones that were in walking distance from us, there were probably about 6 of them that were like right around our house where I could take the mower and go and cut them every week. So every Saturday, Fridays and Saturdays, that's what I would do for cash. And, I'd make like, I think at the time we were charging like $15 a lawn, depending on the size, but right around there. I do $15 cash a lawn, multiply that by at least the 6 I did that were local, right? Not bad for a 9-year-old, right? Every weekend, right? Doing that. So that was the first job I had, was doing that. So under the table, no insurance at all.
Obviously.
But untaxed, off the books, right?
There you go.
Could spend it or save it how I wanted to. But yeah, that was. There's not much to that story. That was just the first. Learned how to work. I guess learned how to.
You
cut
learned
lawns.
responsibility. That's
responsibility.
the main part.
We had a
about
lot of older neighbors on our block. There weren't that many kids growing up around our house, so that lent itself to a lot of our neighbors did not want to cut their own lawns. So we did it for much cheaper than it would for them to hire an actual professional group to do it. So you hire the kid from down the block to come and cut your lawn every week. You're probably saving half the money you'd pay for, or even more than that for a group to do it, right? So that's what I did. Same concept in the winter for shoveling snow. So those same people I cut their lawns for, I'd shovel their driveway for it. So me and my brothers did that growing up, and that was a good way to make cash when we were young.
You know the best part about doing that when you're a little kid is like you could tell them like I'll shovel your driveway for $10.
And that was a lot of money.
Well, that
For you back then, yeah.
And then, because I did that a couple times where you walk around the neighborhood and you take that. But the beauty is, they would always give you more than what you asked for.
Oh, sure.
I feel like you tell them $10 and they're like, here's an extra $5. It's like, that was the best
They'd
part
tip
when
you.
you're a little kid, yeah.
Or duke
So-
you. My dad used to say they duke you, which means
I
like
like
they
that.
give you, they duke you an extra $5 or $10.
I like that saying.
If you did a good job, sure. So that's so we did. That's the first job I can remember doing. Probably didn't always like it. Probably was like, I should be playing right now, but instead I'm gonna go cut the lawns. But
Yeah.
got paid for it. It was great. But yeah, that's it. First job I ever had, and I had that job for a while. I was doing that even when I got an actual job with a paycheck. I was still
Like after college?
all through,
Early high school, so I remember you doing my house. And
all through high school. I cut lawns. Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah, sure.
I was
wow.
added to the crew for
Sure,
our
sure.
house.
Yeah,
My parents were gonna let me sit around.
I
Wow.
went. JT's parents hired my dad once to renovate their lawn, and I went with him, and JT was there, and
You recruited him as a partner.
well, because otherwise JT and I probably would have just joked around all day, and I wouldn't have actually worked. So my dad and his parents probably came up with the idea JT should probably help. So that they actually do work, because otherwise I'd be like, "Hey man, have you seen?" We probably talk comics or movies
Oh,
or
that's
something,
funny.
or video games. Yeah. So instead, we would talk about that while we were working instead. But yeah, that was the way it went with the Fired / Malloy clan. If we were working on your lawn, somebody was probably helping us do it. But yeah, that's what we did back in the day, man. Miller and Sons. I was just gonna say that Miller and Sons.
That's
We
awesome.
had magnets and everything, man. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there you go. I might start that business up again someday. I just need, sons.
You just need sons.
Right now, it would just be Miller. So, whatever. But yeah. So yeah, it was good. Good times.
Awesome. All right. First job for me. I'll give a quick, short backstory with this. So both my parents are Mexican immigrants. Both with very little.
Hold on. You're Mexican?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to.
So both
Sergio Torres. That's Mexican.
So yeah, so
All right.
this is actually an interesting. It's an interesting question, and it's an interesting answer. So,
right.
Both my parents being Mexican immigrants, neither of them really had much education growing up. My mom didn't have any education. My dad didn't even. I think he went to like first and second grade. So when he came to the States, he educated himself. But my mom, not having any education, she ended up working at this. Mailing factory that was out of Willowbrook. So she basically just ran on this line, which was like, if you can imagine junk mail, how can you print junk mail and get it stuffed in envelopes and sent out really quick? She basically ran the machines that was like credit card debt, or sign up for this credit card, get stuffed in an envelope. Envelopes get like categorized into like little boxes, and boxes get thrown on pallets, and pallets get thrown on trucks. So she oversaw one of those, machines. So in sixth grade, it was a summer going from sixth grade to seventh grade. My parents were just like, all right, we're going to have you go and work at this place. I'll be straight up honest right now, because I doubt any government's going to go after this company, because I don't even think it exists anymore. But pretty much majority of the people that worked in this place were illegal Mexicans anyways. And then you had my mom, who was like one of the senior people, because she spoke Spanish and English and could like corral all the illegal immigrants. So they were like, all right, Sergio, you can go ahead and go work there. So in sixth grade, summer going into seventh grade, I basically worked in this factory with my mom, and my job was basically, as the paper went through, it got cut up and divided and then put into this machine, and this machine, which was a really cool machine, would take these pieces of paper. So if you can imagine the letter that says, hey, thanks for subscribing to our whatever, gets stuffed into the envelope, and then you go to the next thing, which would stuff the additional offers, and it would just go down this like assembly line to like get everything into this envelope, and then the envelope would get sealed by this machine, and at the end of this assembly line, all of these sealed letters from Visa or MasterCard, whatever, would be put in a tray by zip code, and then this tray would need to go into a pallet. So my job was, once that tray was full, I had to take that pallet or that tray, put it on a pallet. Once the pallet was filled, I had to wrap it with this saran wrap roll, which was my favorite part because like it was one of those giant rolls where it's like you hold it on this like little like dispenser thing, and you would like literally walk around this like tray, just like
it's so sticky.
Yeah, exactly. You just keep going around and around until it was like secure and like full. And then once I was done, I would get the jack it up and like wheel it over to a truck where someone else would manage having to take this pallet onto a truck. That was literally my first job. I think I was getting paid. Here's where it gets fishy. I think I was getting paid minimum wage, but obviously I'm only. How old are you in the summer between 6th grade and 7th grade? I'm going to say
12, 13.
Yeah, 12, 13. Yeah. So obviously I can't legally get paid, but I was getting paid. Because the funny thing is, I would get a check, but I couldn't do anything with it because what my parents did on all the money I made from 6th grade and on is they would just take it and they put it into my savings account. Mm-hmm. The beauty about
half the money you made, half for me.
Right. You got lucky.
Yeah.
I wish I was that lucky. So like all those
they
early,
still do
like,
that to this day.
They still do that. They put it in the savings account. But the beauty about that savings account is that is the savings account that pretty much covered all 3 years at Moraine Valley. And yes, I know Moraine Valley is a 2-year junior college, but all of that, like working my ass off as a little kid, like that money saved and birthday money and all that other stuff went towards paying for Moraine. So awesome. I can't complain about it, but that literally was my first job. And the funny thing is, like, I just sat here and talked about how I worked with a bunch of illegal Mexicans in a factory, and you guys are probably going to make a bunch of jokes about this, like, going on, but I will tell you this. That job, that first experience, working long hours in a hot fucking, like, warehouse, busting your ass, day in and day out, watching my mom bust her ass in that shitty-ass factory, told me, you better do something with your education and
earn it. You better
earn
this.
it.
Yeah.
And become something that is going to become someone who can not just spend all their time working for peanuts. So, granted, that was my first job. That was my first experience in the working world. It did teach me a lot. So I will admit that. So that's my first job experience.
You know what? I'm offended that you think we'd have any jokes.
No, come on. There is going to be at least one Mexican joke that's going to come up within the next 3 weeks.
That had like
guaranteed.
That had like 3 arcs and it had a lesson at the end. Like,
yeah, that was actually very awesome.
That was pretty great. I was kind of waiting for you to talk about a card game where people get hurt.
Yeah.
So,
but no, that was that was really great.
As soon as that whistle blowed and we all checked out of that workday, we would all enjoy a fun game of Mexican Train. Is that what you were hoping to hear?
You had to say it. Now we have jokes. No.
Just so you know.
I wasn't waiting for that.
Just so you know, that last part I made up. So.
Sure you did. But no, that's, I mean, what better way to end it with that where, that heartfelt story, it really is. First job taught you a lesson. It's a lesson we can all learn from. I love that. Now, normally at this point, we'd have Tony take us out, but he's not here tonight. So, JT, you volunteered.
I just want to say first that all 3 of us are going to get 300 W-9 forms in the mail after we say this podcast.
You're right. I just admitted I worked off the grid for years.
I just said I worked with a bunch of illegal Mexicans.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
with
Trump,
this administration, we are screwed.
Yeah, right?
I don't like it. The Kick Rock crew, all of them, they're working illegally. No taxes. This is why we're in debt, just because of them. Anyway,
Hold on, what does Tony say? What does he say? I always forget.
he says something like chip chip bow wow.
Brown
This
cow.
is
But what is it? KRO?
KRO.
WKR.
WKR.
WKAR.
WKAR. That's it.
Yeah.
All right,
So JT, take us out.
You need to in the post production. You're up the bass for this. You know.
Got it.
Gosh. Hey, thank you guys all for listening. Here's JT.
Well, this is Tony Marino, and thank you for listening to WKAR, and stay classy, stay sexy.
Chicka bow bow wow. Brown cow.
Chip chip bow wow, brown cow. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This has been 2 Drink Minimum episode number 18. If you like it, if you hate it, either way, email us at podcast@kickarock.com. Once again, that's podcast@kickarock.com. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, how you feel. Something else you want to hear in the future. Another topic. Few orders of business. We do have our screening for our recent submission to the Chicago 48-Hour Film Project. We're at the Music Box Theater on July 29th at 9 p.m. Group C. That's at 9 p.m. So Group C, you can go to musicboxtheater.com to purchase those tickets. Now, look, are we going to post the film after the screening? Yes, but there's nothing better than seeing it on the big screen with a bunch of your friends. Let's face it, let's be honest. And aside from that, we'd love to see all your smiling faces there with us to catch up and maybe have a few cocktails with us afterwards. Who knows? But we'd love to see you there. We're very excited about this film, and we want you all to see it. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been 2 Drink Minimum. We've been drinking, thinking, and talking shop. Cheers, everybody.